I started hosting on Airbnb a few months ago, trying to make some extra cash while diving into photography. After my breakup, I thought meeting new people would help me feel better. The bungalow I rented out was charming, built in the 1920s. Everything looked normal from the outside, but I soon realized something wasn't right. One night, as I settled in to edit photos, I noticed a strange smell coming from the guest room. It was like wet wood or old paper. I brushed it off, telling myself it was just the house's quirks. I turned my focus back to my work, but I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. Guests began arriving. One stood out, a big guy who spent hours just staring at the walls. I thought he was just an oddball, but he stood completely still, his eyes focused on nothing. When I finally asked him if he needed anything, he turned his head slowly and smiled, but his eyes were so vacant. I felt my heart skip a beat and hurried out of the room. Then came a woman. She seemed nice at first, but that night I was jolted awake by sounds from the guest room. I crept closer, my heart racing. She was sleepwalking, her eyes shut, mumbling soft gibberish. I called her name gently, hoping to wake her. She paused and turned, but then continued walking straight into the wall. It chilled me to the bone. I backed away quietly, convincing myself it was just sleepwalking. The most unsettling guest was a young couple. They seemed perfectly normal, but one night I overheard them whispering. Phrases like, "It's still here," and "We're not safe," floated down the hall. Their faces showed no fear, but the air felt heavy. I wanted to assure them that they would be safe here, but something held me back. I felt tight in my stomach, even scared. Over time, I grew uneasy in my own home. Had the guests been acting strangely, or was it something about the bungalow? I started wondering about its history. Had it seen dark things? Night after night, I couldn't shake the smell or the heaviness I felt after they left. One night, I found myself staring at the wall in my living room. I thought I saw shadows moving there. I turned quickly, breathing hard, but nothing was behind me. Still, a chill crept into my spine. I felt watched, though I was all alone. Then I heard it. Whispers from the guest room floated across the silence. "You should have left." Each word sent a shock through me. I froze, my heart racing. What was going on? Were the guests trying to tell me something? I wished I knew. The whispers stopped, leaving me in the dark, questioning everything. I had never been more scared in my life, not knowing if I brought it all upon myself. The next day, I felt restless. I needed answers. Maybe my neighbor could help, or at least share some stories about the bungalow. I walked over, heart pounding with each step. When I knocked, an older woman answered. She had kind eyes, but they showed hints of wariness. "Hi, I'm Mia. I just moved in across the street," I said, trying to keep my tone light. She studied my face for a moment. "What can I do for you?" I hesitated, unsure of how to ask. "I was wondering about the history of the old bungalow. Figured you might know something." The moment I mentioned the bungalow, her expression shifted. "That place? Been there for ages. Built in the 20s, like you said. It's seen a lot." "Like what?" I pushed, curiosity gnawing at me. She leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "People say it's haunted. You'll hear whispers sometimes, if you're lucky or unlucky." My stomach twisted. I thought about the voices I heard last night. "What do you mean?" "People who stay there, they don't always come back the same. Some leave too soon. I've seen it." "What do you mean?" I pressed now, feeling the fear seep deeper. She hesitated. "You'll find things, odd things, mementos of sorts from the past. They don't belong to the guests. They belong to something else." "Such as?" I felt a sinking sensation, wishing I hadn't asked. But she shook her head, stepping back. "It's not for me to say. Just keep your door locked, and if you hear those whispers again." I didn't want to hear how it ended. I nodded, stumbling back home, my mind racing. What had I gotten myself into? Later that evening, I sat at my kitchen table, poring over old photographs I had picked up at a flea market, each telling a different story. They didn't hold any answers, but I felt the urge to find more. I left the table and roamed the house, passing the guest room, stopping as an idea struck me. I'd look under the bed. What if there were things hiding, like she said? With careful steps, I opened the guest room door. The air felt dense again, and the smell of damped wood crept back up my nose. I knelt and slid my hand beneath the bed, feeling dust and something dense. I hesitated, but my curiosity was stronger than my fear. Then I felt it, cold, smooth, and oddly shaped. I pulled it out slowly, and when I saw what it was, my breath hitched. A small, ornate box, covered in intricate designs, looked like it had been there forever. Before I could think too much, I opened it, and a wave of cold air washed over me. Inside, relics, a dried rose, a cracked photograph of a woman, and a small silver locket. Each item stirred something deep within me. As I pulled out the locket, I felt the whispers begin again, echoing in my mind. You should have left. That's when I knew I had to find out more. But who had left these things? And what were they trying to tell me? I couldn't shake the lingering chill of the locket in my hand. I closed the box, resting it gently on the floor, my heart pounding at the thought of what it contained. The whispers echoed again in my mind, and I pushed the unsettling feeling aside. I had to learn more, but where could I start? The next morning, I headed to the local library. I figured old newspapers or records might give me some insight into the bungalow's past. As I walked through the doors, the musty scent of books enveloped me. I approached the desk, where an older man with thinning hair was sorting through some files. "Hi, I'm looking for information on the old bungalow on Maple Street," I said, trying to sound casual. He looked up, eyes narrowing slightly. "That place? It's been in our archives for years. You really want to dig into that? Why? Is there a reason I shouldn't?" I asked, feeling a knot form in my stomach. He sighed, adjusting his glasses. "Not for me to say. Just be careful. It's best to know when to leave things alone." I felt a wave of frustration. Why was everyone so cryptic? "Can you just help me find what you have?" He hesitated, glancing around the library as if sensing an unseen presence. After a moment, he walked over to a shelf, pulling out a dusty box filled with old newspapers. "Here, start with this." I dug through the yellowed pages, searching for anything related to my bungalow. I found a few articles about strange occurrences, a fire that had once nearly consumed the building, rumors of missing persons, and a family that vanished without a trace. Each piece fueled my anxiety, but the need to know outweighed my fear. Then, as I flipped to another page, something caught my eye. It was a photograph of a woman standing outside my bungalow, clutching a locket similar to the one I'd found. Her eyes seemed to follow me, a blend of sadness and desperation etched on her face. I stared at the image, my breath hitching again. "Who is she?" I murmured aloud. The librarian returned, glancing at the photo. "That's Clara Jennings. She lived there in the 30s. Not much else. Not good memories, though." "Why? What happened to her?" I felt my heart race. I needed answers. He shook his head, his expression darkening. "You best read the rest. Sometimes it's better not to dig too deep." Frustrated, I nodded and left the library, the weight of the mystery pressing down on me. That evening, I stood in my kitchen, mulling over everything I had learned. The locket felt heavy in my pocket, almost urging me to uncover more. Suddenly, I heard a soft tapping sound against the window. It jolted me. I moved closer and peered through the glass. Just outside, the faint outline of a figure stood. A streetlight. I squinted, my heart racing. Then, everything went dark. The power cut out, plunging my house into silence and shadow. In the darkness, The whispers returned, louder this time. "You should have left." I stumbled back from the window, heart pounding in my chest. Who was out there? I heard the tapping again, this time louder, and I knew I couldn't ignore it. But as I hesitated at the door, my hands trembling, a voice seeped through the darkness, softer now. "Help me." I had to decide. Would I open the door, or would I finally leave this mystery behind? I stood frozen in my kitchen, the darkness thick around me. The tapping persisted, each sound taking on an urgent tone. "Help me." The voice lingered in my mind, swirling like smoke. It felt familiar, yet I couldn't place it. Was it a prank, or was someone really outside in the dark? I struggled to recall if I had seen anyone in the neighborhood earlier that day. Everything felt disjointed. After a few agonizing seconds, I finally reached for the doorknob. Just as I turned the handle, the power flickered back on. The kitchen brightened, casting sharp shadows against the walls. My heart raced as I glanced through the window again. No one was there. I pulled the door open, passed the threshold, and stepped outside, scanning the street. It felt eerily quiet. The glow from the streetlight illuminated the edges of my porch, but the road was empty. I felt both relieved and disappointed. Maybe it was just my imagination. Maybe I was losing it. But then I noticed something on the ground, just by the edge of the porch. A small object glinted in the light. I bent down to pick it up. It was a silver locket, identical to the one I had found in that dusty box earlier. My breath caught in my throat. How could this be here? I hurriedly looked around, my pulse quickening. I could still feel the remnants of that voice echoing in my ears. The wind rustled the leaves, and I felt an unsettling chill creep over me. That locket couldn't have been here before, I was sure of it. I stepped back inside, shutting the door and locking it tight. My mind raced as I clutched the small decorative locket, memories of the photographs swirling in my head. It had to mean something. Clara Jennings, the woman with the sad eyes, had left this behind. But why? And what did she need help with? Unable to think straight, I grabbed my phone and searched for any more information on Clara. I wanted to know everything, the story behind her life and her sudden disappearance. As I scrolled, my fingers trembled. Fragments of news articles appeared, but there was something else. A new article dated just a week ago, claiming someone had spotted a woman near my bungalow. As if sensing my need for more answers, I clicked on it. Reading the account sent chills down my spine. It described sightings of a woman who looked like Clara, wandering the neighborhood at night. Supposedly, she whispered to passersby, urging them to leave the house. "That place isn't safe," she'd said. I recoiled, my heart pounding faster. It was clear that whatever lay behind that locket and Clara's presence was more ominous than I had imagined. Was she warning me? Just then, my phone buzzed. A notification. It was from a name I didn't recognize. "Meet me at the old bungalow. You need to know." I stared at the screen, my heart racing. Did I have the courage to find out more? Or would I be walking into a trap? In that moment, I realized that I may not be the only one seeking answers. Someone knew something, and they were waiting for me. I couldn't shake the feeling of dread as I stood there, staring at my phone. The message felt like a shadow looming over me. I took a deep breath. Ignoring it wouldn't make it go away, and if Clara was indeed trying to reach out, I couldn't turn my back on her plea. I slipped on my shoes, grabbing the locket and stuffing it in my pocket. The old bungalow wasn't far, just a couple of blocks away. Still, every step felt like a mile. The street was quiet, almost too quiet. I passed familiar houses that seemed to watch me with silent judgment. I quickened my pace, feeling the cockles of anxiety rising in my chest. What if this was a trap? What if I was being foolish, walking into something I didn't understand? I finally reached the bungalow. It loomed before me, its exterior peeling and worn, the shadows deepening with each passing moment. The windows were dark, like sunken eyes, waiting to reveal something I wasn't quite prepared for. As I approached the door, I hesitated. A feeling of someone watching crept over me. But then I remembered Clara and the urgency of her warning. I knocked lightly on the door. No answer. I tried again, louder this time, my breath hitching slightly. Just when I thought I might turn around, the door creaked open. A figure emerged, silhouetted against the dull light behind them. It was a woman, but not Clara. This woman wore a long coat that seemed to swallow her whole, and her hair hung like shadows around her face. "Did you come for me?" she whispered, her voice barely audible above the wind. I got a message," I stammered, "from someone saying to meet here." She stepped closer, the outline of her features becoming clearer. Her eyes widened, and her expression shifted to one of urgency. "You shouldn't be here. You need to leave before it's too late." My gut twisted with fear. "But why? Who are you?" She shook her head, her expression growing darker. "I can't explain. You don't understand. Clara, she's not safe." "Clara?" Took a step back, my mind racing. "You know her?" "I used to," she murmured, glancing over her shoulder as if expecting something. She was trying to... Just then, a loud bang echoed from inside the bungalow. We both jumped. My instincts screamed at me to run, but I stood rooted to the ground, adrenaline coursing through me. "Leave now!" she shouted, panic lacing her voice. She turned, disappearing into the shadows of the house, leaving me alone on the porch, confusion swirling in my mind. I heard footsteps behind me, heavy and approaching. I instinctively moved to get out of the way, adrenaline pumping, but that was when I felt it, a firm grip on my wrist. I turned, ready to scream, but there stood another figure, eyes wide, an expression of desperation mirrored on their face. "You're in danger," they hissed. "Who are you?" I cried, struggling to pull away. They leaned in closer, whispering urgently. "You have to listen. Clara's real. You need to get out of here. It's not just her who needs help." The wind howled around us, and all I could think was that everything around me was unraveling. My heart raced as the darkness seemed to close in. "Please, trust me," the stranger pleaded, but their grip tightened, and the fear inside me flared once more. Then, everything went dark. I jolted awake, the chill of the air biting at my skin. My surroundings felt foreign and disorienting. I was no longer outside the bungalow, but lying on a cold, hard floor. I pushed myself up, blinking against the dim light filtering through dirty windows. I was in a small, cluttered living room. Old furniture was haphazardly arranged. Dust danced in the shafts of light, and the air hung heavy and stale. I looked around, panic rising when I realized I was alone. "Hello?" I called, my voice trembling. Echoes bounced off the peeling walls, mocking my fear. No answer, just the sound of my own heartbeat thumping in my ears. I quickly got to my feet and moved toward a door at the far end of the room. Every step felt deliberate, my feet hesitant on the creaky floorboards. When I reached the door, I hesitated. Should I really be poking around? But Clara's warning echoed in my mind. I couldn't turn back now. I pushed the door open slowly, revealing a narrow hallway. The oppressive silence pressed against me as I made my way through. Flickering light bulbs overhead cast strange shadows, making ordinary shapes appear menacing. Suddenly, a sound made me freeze, muffled voices drifting from a room at the end of the hall. I couldn't make out what they were saying, but the urgency was palpable. I edged closer, heart racing. Was it Clara? Was she okay?
Peeking around the corner, I saw two figures hunched over a table, cluttered with papers. I barely caught snippets of their conversation. She has to be stopped. We can't let her. It's too
Late! They're already here! Panic shot through me, fueling my need to escape. I didn't want to be caught in whatever I was hearing. Just as I turned to retreat, one of them lifted their head. Their eyes met mine, wide with shock. "Get out!" they shouted, leaping up and knocking over a chair. I stumbled backward, adrenaline propelling me into the hallway. "Wait, please!" I yelled, the desperation in my voice rising as I took off down the hall. I knew I had to find a way out before whatever was happening captured me in its web. I turned sharply at the end of the hallway, bursting into what appeared to be a kitchen. A flickering light bulb swung overhead, and my gaze darted around, searching for a way out. But instead, my eyes fell on a figure standing by the back door, a silhouette against the fading light outside. It was Clara. "Help me!" I gasped, my breath hitching. The figure turned and my heart sank. It wasn't Clara. This woman wore a tattered dress, her eyes sunken with a fear that sent chills down my spine. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered, her voice a ghostly echo. "You need to leave." Before I could respond, a loud crash sounded from the front of the house, causing the woman to flinch. Then something thundered through the door I had just entered, and a shadowy figure loomed in the doorway. I bolted towards the back door, but the strange woman grabbed my arm, her grip ice cold. "You can't escape." That's when I noticed something shiny glinting on the kitchen counter, a knife. I reached for it instinctively, feeling the weight of it in my palm. I was ready to fight, but I didn't even know who the enemy was. As I turned back to face the woman, another crash reverberated through the house. Fear surged through me once more. "I need to know the truth," I shouted, my voice desperate and laced with urgency. Just as the newcomer stepped further into the room, everything fell silent. "Who are you?" I trembled, clutching the knife tightly. And then, just like that, the lights went out. I stood in darkness, the knife gripped tightly in my hand. My heart hammered in my chest, each thud echoing in the stillness. I could feel the woman's cold breath against my face, the weight of her fear hanging in the air like a storm cloud about to burst. "Stay back," I warned, though my voice trembled. The shadows shifted around me, and I strained to hear any movement. I kicked myself for not finding a flashlight or a way to keep the light alive. The silence pressed against me, suffocating. Suddenly, a flicker illuminated the room for a split second. I saw the woman's face, eyes wide with terror. Then shadows overtook her again. Was I imagining things? A noise came from the direction of the front of the house, a heavy thump, followed by what sounded like footsteps. My instincts screamed at me to run, but I was rooted to the spot, adrenaline coursing through my veins. "Who's there?" I shouted into the darkness, my voice a shaky echo. There was no response, just the pounding of my heart. I took a cautious step backward, feeling for the back door. My palms were slick with sweat, making the knife feel like it was slipping from my grip. The woman's hand clamped down on my wrist again, this time tighter, as if sensing my intention to flee. "Don't. They'll hear you," she hissed, her voice urgent and low. "You need to listen to me." "Listen? To you?" I scoffed, confusion flooding my mind. "You're just as trapped in here as I am." "Trapped?" She laughed bitterly, eyes glistening in the faint light. "You don't understand. They're coming for you. They cannot find you here." "They?" My voice barely broke through the fear rising in my throat. "What do you mean? Who are you?" Instead of answering, she abruptly released me, her gaze shifting to the doorway. The tension in the air thickened, a dark presence creeping nearer. Suddenly, the lights flickered back on. I blinked against the harsh brightness, and the room filled with ominous shadows. And there it was, a figure standing in the doorway, blocking my escape. It was a man, face obscured by a dark hood. "Looking for someone?" he sneered, voice dripping with menace. I could feel my palms sweating as I raised the knife, adrenaline screaming in my ears. "Stay back. I don't know who you are, but You're the one who doesn't belong," he interrupted, taking a step forward. The urge to flee overwhelmed me. I swung around, lunging for the back door. My heart raced, more frantic than before. But the woman grabbed my arm again. "You can't go out there. There's no safety." Her urgency rooted me in place. Before I could process her words, the man lunged towards me. Without thinking, I swung the knife at him. He sidestepped, and I barely grazed his coat. He grinned, eyes gleaming with a twisted thrill. "You're going to regret that," he roared, launching at me. Adrenaline surged as I ducked and ran along the kitchen wall. I spotted the window under the sink. It was my only chance. I dove for it, slamming it open, just as the woman yelled, "No, you'll expose yourself!" But as I scrambled through, the world outside came into view. It was dark, the moon hanging in the sky like a watchful eye. I could hear the man behind me, furious and desperate. Then it hit me. Whatever was out there, I was running straight towards it. I paused, torn between the chaos behind me and the unknown ahead. That's when I heard the whispers, low and foreboding, creeping along the wind like something alive. I jumped through the window and landed outside, but the chill in the air felt far worse than before. The whispers grew louder, louder, surrounding me. I had just entered another nightmare. The air outside clung to me, heavy with a dampness that chilled my bones. I looked around, the shadows of the trees whispering dark secrets. The house loomed behind me, an ominous silhouette against the night sky. I started to run, not knowing where I was going, but feeling the need to put space between me and the man chasing me. The whispers intensified, wrapping around me like cold fingers. Fear prickled at my skin. I needed to find safety, but I felt trapped in an invisible web. After a few frantic steps, I stumbled into a narrow path lined with overgrown bushes. The moonlight barely penetrated the canopy, casting an eerie glow that made me feel watched. I pressed forward, my senses on high alert, the knife still clutched in my hand. I turned a corner and froze. There, ahead of me, was a figure standing motionless, its face obscured by a hood, just like the man back at the house. My heart raced. Had he followed me? "Please, don't," I pleaded, holding the knife in front of me. "I'll fight you." The figure tilted its head, the shadows concealing its features. "You've been chosen," it said, voice soft yet laced with something chilling. "It's time for you to understand." "Chosen for what?" I demanded. "I don't want any part of this." Suddenly, the figure took a step forward. I backed away, glancing over my shoulder. My instinct screamed at me to run, so I turned and bolted down the path. The whispers grew louder, almost taunting, as if they were enjoying my panic. It wasn't long before I reached a clearing. The moon illuminated the space, revealing scattered debris and broken branches. A rusted swing set creaked gently in the breeze, and I felt a deep unease settle in my chest. That's when I saw them. Shadows darting between the trees, figures emerging, more of them, just like the second figure I'd encountered. They moved silently, their limbs unnaturally elongated, eyes glowing in the darkness. I was surrounded. "What do you want?" I gasped, feeling the weight of fear ripple through me. "You hold the key," one of them whispered, its voice soft but insistent. "The key to the door of truth." "What truth?" I yelled. "I don't know what you're talking about." Unseen hands seemed to grasp at my mind, pulling at thoughts I didn't understand. I shook my head, trying to dispel the panic flooding in.
Then, as if responding to my fear, they advanced, drawing closer. I spun around and sprinted in a different direction, desperate to escape their grasp. I ran into a thick fog that descended upon me, smothering the hint of moonlight. Just when I felt I couldn't run anymore, I tripped over a gnarled root and fell hard. The knife clattered away from my hand, and I could hear the whispers growing louder and more chaotic around me. A suffocating silence enveloped me.
For a moment, leaving only the sound of my ragged breathing. Then the fog began to lift. I looked around, but the figures were gone. I pushed myself up, heart racing, scanning the trees for signs of movement. That's when I found it. A small, weathered box, partially buried beneath the leaves. I reached down, adrenaline fueling my curiosity. I carefully pulled it free, my hands trembling. As I opened the lid, I was met with an object that sent a jolt through me. It was a key, rusted and ancient, but undeniably a key nonetheless. I felt my heart sink. What had I stumbled into? I stared at the key for what felt like hours, my mind racing. What did it mean? I couldn't shake the feeling that it was connected to the figures, the whispers, and whatever force was haunting me in the woods. I clutched it tightly, half expecting the shadows to return at any moment. With no clear plan, I stood up, scanning the darkness. The fog started to clear, but I could still feel a presence lingering nearby. I couldn't shake the thought that the figures might be watching me, waiting for something. I decided to head back the way I came. I needed to find the house again, to uncover the mystery before it swallowed me whole. The path felt different now, more treacherous. I moved cautiously, tightening my grip on the key, as if it could protect me. Suddenly, I heard a rustling behind me. I turned sharply, my heart thumping in my chest. A small animal darted into the underbrush, but my breath hitched, unsettled. It was the shadows I feared, not a mere creature of the woods. I pressed on, trying to drown out the unsettling sounds surrounding me. Then, out of nowhere, a woman's voice broke through the silence. "Help me!" It was faint, almost ethereal. I stopped, every instinct telling me to flee. But curiosity gnawed at me. I stepped further down the path, searching for the source. "Help me, please," the voice called again, fear threaded through its soft tone. It sounded desperate, begging for aid. I turned in circles, but saw no one. "Where are you?" I shouted, fighting through the fear gripping me. "Are you out here?" "I'm lost," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't want to be here anymore." The words twisted in my gut. It was like a mirror of my own thoughts. "I'm lost too," I yelled. "We can help each other. Where are you?" "Follow me," the voice beckoned, luring me deeper into the trees. Against my better judgment, I began to walk toward it, feeling drawn as if in a trance. The glow of moonlight faded as I ventured further into the shadows, and the fog thickened around me once more. My heart raced. I felt an urgent need to get away, yet the voice continued to call, weaving an unsettling promise of safety. Then, abruptly, the voice stopped. Engulfed me. Panic surged through my veins. I took another step, but a different sound caught my attention. A low growl coming from my left. I turned, eyes wide. Standing there amidst the trees was a creature, hunched and shapeless, with beady eyes that shimmered like polished stones. It stared directly at me, its growl rumbling in the quiet of the woods. I stumbled back, adrenaline flooding my system. My legs felt like jelly, and the key slipped from my fingers. It hit the ground with a muffled thud, bouncing once before settling in the leaves. I froze, unsure of what to do next. "Leave her be," it whispered, a raspy tone slithering through the air. "She does not belong to you." Suddenly, the fog thickened even more, suffocating and cold. I couldn't see the creature or the path anymore, just shadows shifting in the dim light. Panic blinded me. I turned and ran aimlessly, trying to escape the looming darkness and the whispers that surrounded me once more. Nothing felt real anymore, and somewhere deep inside the fog, I felt it, the unmistakable sense that I was at the edge of something unimaginable. I darted through the fog, mind racing and heart pounding. My fingers trembled as I grasped the locket again, a cold reminder of the tangled web I had stumbled into. The whispers escalated, swirling around me like an angry storm. "You shouldn't have come," they hissed. Branches clawed at my arms as I pushed forward, desperate for the safety of the street. The weight of the key I had found momentarily slipped my mind, overshadowed by the terror that engulfed me. I couldn't see where I was going, but the fear propelled my feet forward. Suddenly, I burst through the fog into a clearing. My breath hitched as I saw the old bungalow across the street, its silhouette haunting, yet strangely familiar. The front door hung ajar, beckoning me under the dim glow of a flickering streetlight. For a moment, something within me hesitated. Was I about to walk into a trap? But the whispers recalled my entrapped mind, warning me that if I didn't, I may never escape the shadows that had taken me. With each step toward the house, my resolve strengthened. The voices faded into a distant hum, but their urgency gripped my chest. Just as I reached the door, I stopped. What if Clara was right? What if the truth was lurking inside? Inside felt different. A hollowed silence filled the air as I stepped forward, crossing the threshold with a sense of foreboding. I remembered the way the last woman had looked at me. Was this even the same place? The walls felt like they were watching me, the shadows thickening as I moved deeper. I arrived in the living room, where the atmosphere felt dense, as if unwelcome memories were looming just out of sight. Papers, sketches, and relics were scattered across the table, remnants of stories left untold. But one drawing stood on. A crude representation of a key, similar to the one I'd seen earlier, resting beneath a drawing of the bungalow. I leaned closer, my breath hitching. The locket pulsed against my chest as if it could react to the memories. Help me. I could almost feel Clara's presence surrounding me again, as if she were guiding me away from whatever wickedness lingered. I flicked the locket open, looking at the old photograph within. The woman stared back, her haunting eyes demanding attention. It was Clara, and her softer features echoed the desperation of the beings I had encountered. "Clara?" I whispered, almost as an invocation. But there was no answer, just the growing sensation that more was at stake than I could comprehend. The whispering resumed, along with echoes of laughter from far away, mocking my ignorance. Then it happened. Darkness fell once more, heavy as a shroud. The door slammed shut behind me with a force that rattled the walls. Panic surged through my veins, and I turned to bolt towards the door, but something halted me, an unnatural grip around my wrist. "Why didn't you listen?" A chilling voice crooned in my ear, and I felt myself time-traveling through the horrors in the blink of an eye. The man from before, his face shadowy, loomed closer with a malevolent smile. "You were chosen, yet you still resist." I struggled against his grip, panic swelling in my chest. "Let me go!" I shouted, adrenaline fueling my instinct to escape. The shadows behind him flickered, revealing more figures, hazy shadows with hollow eyes, staring hungrily. Then I remembered the key. With renewed force, I fumbled in my pocket, pulling it out, squeezing it tightly. Confrontation electrified the air around me. "Is this what everyone wants?" I gasped, brandishing it like a weapon. "What does it open?" He laughed, a sound devoid of humanity. "You believe you can fight it? You don't know the power you have." Before he could advance, I lunged forward, diving past him through the now ajar door, finding myself in the darkness of the front porch again, stumbling backward and breathing frantically. I turned, attempting to run, but was met by an invisible wall of shadows constricting around me. In that moment, the whispers crescendoed.
You must help us find the truth. A surge of desperation coursed through me, igniting something within. The key in my hand felt alive, vibrating with energy. "Get away from me!" I screamed, and with that, I thrust the key into the thick air, as if I could unlock their plight. The shadows receded as another blinding flash hit me. The presence of Clara surged beside me, the air filled with warmth. And then, silence. As the shadows fell away, I found myself kneeling before the door, trembling. The figures remained at bay at the edge of the shadows, watching with a newfound intensity. The atmosphere felt lighter, though dread was still thick enough to suffocate. The truth began to excavate itself from the chaos, a haunting
remembrance of Clara intertwining with my thoughts. What had happened to her? What had caused this endless cycle of torment and whispers? I stood slowly, still trembling, and glanced around. The house loomed before me, almost imploring me to uncover its secrets. I could see the yearning in the shadows fading. They no longer seemed to consume me. I could finally breathe. But lingering questions tethered me. I may have escaped the immediate peril, but what waited for me beyond the boundary of the bungalow? What truths hung in the air, just out of reach? As I stepped back, ready to confront the fading darkness, scrabbling for the answers I didn't yet know, the final whispers settled around me, urging me to delve deeper into the mystery. There were threads left untangled. The house might be quiet, but the echoes of time would linger, whispering eternally. Maybe, just maybe, some answers would remain hidden. Yet I had survived, for now.